First things first, time for But First. Nick, you're talking NBA starting fives.
Yeah, so listen, there's this thing that has become very popular on Twitter over the last few years, which is you have tiers of guys, $5, $4, $3, $2, and $1. You have $15. Make your lineup, make your perfect meal, make your perfect vacation. And every time I see one of these, I look at everyone else's answers, and I'm like, how can the whole world be so wrong? Like, why did they not just say, hey, Nick, what's the right answer? And then I can tell them. So, Wilds, I give you two answers for this one. You have $15 to build your starting lineup. If you would like to build a lineup that can dominate in any era, you have LeBron playing the point for $5, Dame at shooting guard, then Kawhi. Those guys are bargains. Dame and Kawhi for $1 each. KD at power forward and Kareem at center. That's any era. Pre-3-point era, though, what if you're like, we're going to do it, we want to be able to travel back into the 1970s. Well, then you're going to go a lot of mid-range, a lot of defense. LeBron, Kobe, Kawhi, the wildly underrated Dr. J, and I considered letting Giannis play a small ball center, but you have Hakeem Olajuwon sitting right there. I don't want to disrespect the greatest international player in NBA history, Hakeem Olajuwon. Kevin Wilds, I would ask you yours, but it's not going to be as good. So just your thoughts on how good this one is.
Okay, well, I have two thoughts. The fact that you're leaving Jordan out of this is slightly infuriating.
Okay.
That's the thing. He should be like $7.
What do you want me to do?
He should be $7 or $8. Maybe $9. Maybe $12. Maybe he should be 12. I wish there was. Jordan was $12. And then I also wish there was somebody that was just like 7 cents. Just because then you can load up. Yeah. You're just like, and 7 cents. Just who would be 7? I don't want to insult anybody. Yeah. Kevin Wilds on First Things First said I was 7 cents. I don't want to say it, but just like more role players. I wish I could have done there. But Jordan shouldn't be $5. Jordan should be up a notch. They're all great players, but Jordan should be $7.
Okay, I'm glad I went to you, Wild, so
like,
you could give the great Michael Jordan is awesome take that we don't hear enough of on sports television. What a joke. What a joke that was, Jenna.
Speaking of
Go ahead.
NBA players, J.R. Smith is at North Carolina A&T. He's playing some golf. He's getting his degree in liberal studies, and he's tweeting his entire experience, which has been such an absolute treat for us. Yesterday, we learned all about term papers. He doesn't like them. No one does. Today, we're learning about food. And so a fan asked JR, do you attend dining halls for meals or do you cook from home? JR responds, hey, I'm going to start learning how to cook. I'm way too old to not know how to do cook at least 2 or 3 meals. That's just lazy. Hey, JR, I agree. You should learn how to cook. So what easy college meals are we learning how to cook, JR? Ramen noodles, that's easy. Hot Pockets, Easy Mac. Perfect first-time, first-year college cuisine. No, says JR. What's JR cooking? Shrimp Alfredo. Who's making shrimp Alfredo? You got to saute the shrimp. You need a ½ pint of cream. You got to reduce it. You got to add pasta, cracked black pepper. There's Parmesan cheese with the grating. You have to use utensils and like ovens and stoves. You have to boil. Start with a, did you hear this from Jadeveon Clowney? As in, did you hear what he said yesterday? The pass rusher took a shot at offensive lineman. Steak, that's you and your people, my friend. Clowney said, specifically on guards, we love that matchup. We feel like they're the unathletic guys. That guard position, they're not real athletes down there, so they're just physical maulers. But we try to get in there and create those matchups for certain guys, and hopefully we get some wins. Oh, boy, stink. Jadeveon Clowney's comments yesterday were blank.
Honest. He's 100% right. I mean, there's no question that the guards are the worst athletes on the football field. We're only slightly more athletic than television hosts. That's it. Like you think about You think about think about the position. Right. Now that
I heard those shots.
Think about the position. So I have seen a transition take place on a football field a million times. I've seen a corner go to safety. I've seen a safety go to linebacker. I've seen a linebacker go to D-end. I've seen a D-end slide into defensive tackle. I've seen a defensive tackle transition to offensive guard. After offensive guard, the transition is fan. There is nowhere else to go on the football field. You don't go over to the defensive side. You go offensive guard, football fan. That's how it works. But I will say this about offensive linemen in general. It is the most skilled position in football. It's the most skilled position in professional sports. Why? Name me one other position in any sport where the lesser athlete is expected to win 100% of the matchups, and if he doesn't, he sucks, and the defensive lineman goes to the Pro Bowl.
That's right.
There is no other. If you get caught up like in a switch in basketball and a 6'3" point guard blows by a 7-foot center, you don't say, man, that center is horrible. Get him out. He can't defend. No, you say that was a good switch, and they got exactly what they were looking for. If you're an offensive lineman and you get beat by a defensive lineman, you stink. He's great. 65 plays in a row, the lesser athlete has to win. Hey, when you match up in the middle of the football field, a supreme tight end matches up against a like athlete, a safety or a linebacker that can run. A corner matches up with a wide receiver. There is no other position. In boxing, the weight classes are the same. We keep them the same.
So
there is no other position in all of sports where the lesser athlete is expected to win 100% of the battles, and if he doesn't, he stinks. That's why it's the most skilled position in football. Nick, I could throw you a football, you catch it and throw it back. If I was in studio, I'd whip your ass in one-on-ones. There is no question about that.
Yeah, I'm aware. There's no question about it. Yeah, I get it. No, I get it. This is why it stinks the best. And if people don't know, they should know. Obviously, Mark Schlereth, won his Super Bowl. That's good, Miles. Won his Super Bowls playing offensive guard. My answer is similar to Stink's. I said it's absolutely true. We talk all the time, Stink, about the first guy off the bus. That who would you want to be bigger in high school than in pro sports, but to kind of be intimidating for the opposition, the first guy off the bus. And sometimes it's a D end, sometimes it's a wide receiver. I don't know, that changes. But by that metric, last guys off the bus are you guys. Because it's like, come on. Now, you and your dad are a bit of an exception. You've stayed in great shape well post your careers, all of that. But in general, it's kind of sloppy. Guys that look like they probably haven't been to a tailor ever. And it's like, wait, what are you? And it's like, oh, you can bench press 585 pounds and you breathe hot breath on the defensive player and say terrible things to him all game. But athlete, like great athlete, is not what we're thinking of. What, Wilds? I'm saying Stink's agreeing with me. Are you going to give the counter take? Are you? Go ahead.
Now, wait. There is an exception to the rule. And I would argue that Larry Allen, pound for pound, was the greatest athlete that's ever played in the National Football League. There were guys that had the Larry Allen flu on Sundays. They would have the Larry Allen flu because they were like so intimidated by a guy that bench pressed 700 pounds, by a guy that could slam dunk a basketball flat-footed at 335, and a guy that could run a 4.7 40. Like the guy was one of the most exceptional pound-for-pound athletes in the history of the league, and I'm telling you, one of, if not the most dominant player I've ever witnessed.
You're writing that down, Well?
This is the exception.
All right, Schlereth, my question is this. Bulletin board material, is this going to have any effect if guys are going up against Clowney? Are guys going to have a little extra drive? Will this end up biting Clowney that he talked a little too much and is actually putting himself in a disadvantageous position?
No, because he's 100% right. I mean, we all know it. All of us that line up inside know why we're inside. And he's right. You know what? We'll try to maul him. The whole thing about double-A gap blitzes and everything that you see in the National Football League right now is all about getting the one-on-one matchups with guards. That's really what it's all about. I mean, you're out there in a phone booth, and I've always said, hey, run into me in that phone booth, because if I get my hands on you, you're not going anywhere. It's about creating some space and getting that one-on-one matchup. And Jadeveon Clowney, let me tell you, he's a great player. And if they use him like he was used in the past, not in Seattle, where, not to get too technical, but they wanted him in Seattle bases out of a 57 front, meaning the weak side linebackers on line of scrimmage, meaning Jadeveon Clowney, if he's weak side, is in a 4 technique, head up over the tackle, a disadvantageous place to rush the passer. If he's on the strong side, he's in a 6 technique over the tight end, where you're getting double teamed on both sides. So when he is free to roam, when they play him as kind of a rover, an edge player, or walk him as a middle linebacker and let him rush on those guards, he's a nightmare, especially when he gets a running start. So yeah, this doesn't. I mean, yeah, will you be mad? Will you? Yeah, but it doesn't give you an athletic advantage. You're still at a disadvantage.
And they're not going to really be able to focus on him having to deal with Garrett. But can we just get back to the most important thing Stink said? Put Stink on the screen real quick. What makes you think you could catch me? To kick my ass, you got to get your mitts on me. And all I got to do, I